And so welcome to our Canvas closeout special. Bob had to be pulled into a meeting last minute. He should be joining us at some point. For those of you that don't know me, I'm Barbara. I've sent you a few emails this year. I tried to shorten it if you were here last year, from last year because I got a little carried away. But I am here as your tech resource, so I can help you with Canvas and much, much more. But today we're talking about Canvas and the end of the year. There's a lot to kind of get through. Some of it you can actually start working on today. Some of it, just know that the resources are here so that when your grades are done and you can actually do stuff with them, you'll know what to do. So what I try to do with my PDs is I offer them through our PD course in Canvas. So if you log into your Canvas, I will unfreeze. Here we go. So if you're on your dashboard, you should somewhere on your dashboard, wherever it might be, see this professional development course. If you don't see it there, you can go into courses, if this works. Now it's just way off.
Oh, it's on the right side of the screen where it has a little blue pen.
Oh, okay, perfect. Yeah. No, but it's also the calibration is way off.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so I was trying to put it in one spot and I was doing it. So if you go into courses and then all courses, if you don't see it, you'll see it somewhere in here, and it's called, you can see all mine, SUHSD PD, and you can click on that. So all of the resources from today, you don't have to memorize anything. They're all in here. And I've put them all into a module, so you can kind of ignore the buttons on the front page and just click on modules. Hi, come on in. And at some point, it is circling. Okay, so if you click on modules, I moved it to the top for today so it's easier, but I will be moving it back into the Canvas zone, and you'll notice all of the Canvas have that little red pin, so you can at least recognize that, but there are several modules with that same name. Just real quick, on your modules page, you can collapse and expand your modules so that you don't have to see there are several in here. You don't have to scroll all the way through everything. Even when I moved it, you can collapse them. So that way, you know, for example, if it's way lower, you don't have to go through the tech training orientation or anything else. So we're in the Canvas course closeout module. And the way the modules work is everything that I put in here, you can see there are what? 7 items in here. Everything that's in here, you can go through sequentially. But that's pretty much what we're going to do today. You can look at this as an agenda. I also have it on the homepage. Okay. So if you click on the very first one that said home, this also has kind of an expanded agenda for today. And anytime you get lost, hold on, I'm going to scroll down to the bottom of the page. Each page, I'll come back to this one, you can click next or previous. But if you do get lost, you can always click at the bottom, on our Canvas course and return to Canvas. And you'll go right back. Okay, so if you get lost, you can come back to today's homepage. So again, we're in Canvas, and you're going to go into that SUHSD course, and we're in modules, and it's the Canvas course closeout on sale today only. Sorry, I have a little too much names. So you can see the agenda here. We're going to talk a little bit about grades. That's all future stuff, right? Because your grades aren't yet done, but we'll at least see where the information is. And then at the end, we'll get into kind of modules and cleanup and let you know what's going on, okay? Some kind of common questions are, can you see your courses in the summer? And the answer there is yes. So sort of like how, you know, your first semester courses ended, or if you teach quarter courses, they've ended. And so they're no longer in that kind of main dashboard anymore, but you can still get to them by going to courses, all courses. Same thing with your current courses. You'll actually still have full access to change things through the first quarter of next year, and that's in case there are any incompletes. So you always have 1 quarter after the end of your course. So I'm going to scroll down to the bottom of this page, and I'm going to click on Next. Okay, so in terms of grading, kind of these are the steps that you'll go through at the end of the course. First thing you have to do is you have to grade everything, so you can't really do it yet. Probably. And then you'll finalize your grades in your own grade book. That's pretty straightforward, right? I think most people understand it. Then you get to posting grades to IC. And that's that same process that we've gone through, right, each time. And so if you click on this link, it'll take you to that page in my website that lists the different ways. So you have your resources, depending on which way you've chosen to post your grades each time, that's available. Okay, so once you finish your grades, I told you to be here. I told them that you would pull down the last minute meeting. Welcome, Bob. Everyone say hi, Bob.
Hi, Bob.
If you don't know, our director of technology, Bob Fisher. So this gives you the information, and you will be receiving an email once the grading window opens, right, on here's how to post. Okay, so you'll finish your grades in Canvas, you'll post them to IC, but then at the end of semester courses, right, each administration does it slightly differently, but you will have to somehow get your grades to either your admin or your counseling department. Okay, and to do that, some require a printout, some require an email, right? So it depends on which site you are located at on how you want to see those grades. But there's some help here on how to get those grade summaries to whoever needs to get them. Okay, so basically what you'll do is from Canvas, you'll export your grade book. It exports to a CSV file that is super duper messy. And so in here, it gives you some tips and pointers on how to clean it up a little bit if your admin or your counseling department requires it. Okay, it used to be very specific when we had to print our grades long ago, and I don't know how specific it's getting anymore. Right? There used to be instructions on make this column yellow, put a big red arrow, and like all these weird things. But that doesn't happen anymore as far as I know. Okay. So, and this, there's just 2 different things here because some people have different grade books.
I remember well, because it looks like they asked for the whole year, first semester and second semester.
Okay.
So can we do this for?
You can definitely do this for your previous courses. So that's the same thing. If you need to go, that I was saying, if, you know, over the summer you want to access your courses, or in the future you want to access your old courses, I'm just gonna do a new tab here. Okay, so if we go in here to all courses, you'll scroll down and you can find in your past enrollments, and you can open up an older course of yours. So I'm gonna open up this one. So in your old courses, you can still get to your grade books, you just won't be able to actually change anything in those grade books. Everything will be gray, and you'll see it. This one, I didn't have those students, so this one doesn't have anything in there, but it'll be gray, so you can't change anything, but you can still export.
You can export. Okay.
Yeah. As far as I know, you can test it out right now and see if it works.
So
Yeah.
So yeah,
Okay. Yeah.
it must be changed.
Right. Did they have you send them grade reports after in January?
No,
Okay, then they probably
they
will.
didn't, but every year.
Yeah, that's good to know. Okay. How are we doing at this point? Has everybody gotten into the course? I know we came into the times. All right. So in terms of navigating today, Like I said, we're gonna be going through each part of the module in here. So that's everything on grade. We can't actually do much hands-on today, but at least you know where the resources are all in one spot here, right? I mean, both of those go back to the website, but at least it's in one spot here. So if you look at the bottom, we're gonna click next. Okay, and so I just showed you how you can access your courses after they're done. And I'm hoping that this is already set up for you, but just in case it isn't, this is a good thing to check. So in a different tab, leave this tab open so you don't have to re-find it, but open up a new tab at the top, and then go into a course you currently teach. When you're in that course that you currently teach, please scroll down to find settings and click that. And then what you're looking for, you'll have to scroll a little ways. It's, I don't know, 3/4 of the way down the page. Find this little restrict students from viewing course after end date. If it's not checked, you're great. You don't have to do anything. If it is checked, you probably want to uncheck that. So go into your settings, so click up here.
We want to uncheck.
You want to uncheck that. And what that does is it allows students after, I think it's turned on for them, I should check it on either the 7th or the 10th or something of June. It allows them to see their own grade once you're done grading, right? Otherwise, they're going to be emailing you, what's my grade, what's my grade, what's my grade? And you don't want that in the summer. Okay, my birthday is this year during finals week, but in a previous year, it was the Saturday after finals week. And I got a frantic email from a parent that was angry and had to deal with that on my birthday on Saturday in the summer. You don't want that, right? So I would uncheck that. Once you have unchecked that, make sure you click update. You'll need to scroll down to the bottom and click update. Okay, you'll have to do that in each course that you teach. So take a second to go through each course you currently teach and make sure that it's available for your students and parents after the end date.
Do we have to put it in the end date?
No.
No, just make sure it's checked.
What is the default for the end date? Like, is it the quarter?
It's different for
June
teachers
7th.
and students. It's either June 7th or June 10th, but for teachers, it's the end of the first quarter next year.
But so if we don't put in an end date, it'll be the default, which is June 7th.
I believe so, but I can check it.
I have like a hard cutoff for like students to turn stuff in. Like, would it make sense to make that the end dates? They can't. It says it puts it in read only, so they can't like try to turn stuff in.
Well, they won't be able to actually, I mean, if you really wanted to, but you want them to still be able to see it. That's the thing. You can set all of your due dates if you're worried. You know how there's that available from and to?
Right.
You could just do available until.
On every assignment.
Yeah. Well, you know, the ones you expect them to still try to turn in, right?
Well, it says the courses in a read only stay outside.
Then you should be fine. Yeah. So let's see, where's S2? It looks like for students, it's probably gonna be June 11th. Yeah, June 11th. So it's right around when you're done grading, right? So it's there, but just in case, it's nice for them to be able to see after June 11th. Okay, so we're checking each different course that you teach, and checking that, and then go back to.
This is
Very long.
Does it mean anything that mine was already set?
Well, that was my goal. I was hoping, because we tried to make it a default,
Okay.
but I wasn't sure. Okay.
Under normal practice, mine worked out, right?
It's pretty simple.
you have to love it.
And so for those of you who came in, after I gave my little spiel on taking care of yourself, even though we can't eat in here, water is okay, but there are snacks out in the lobby, so feel free to go and grab snacks anytime you want.
The restrooms are on the hallway to the right. To the
To the left. or you can just use.
Sure, sounds great.
Anybody need more time doing this process in their courses?
Just want to say I'm really impressed with the level of service here. 2 instructors, snacks.
Well, the
Private
fact of the
restaurant.
matter is, we had it scheduled for Thursday as well,
Yeah.
and only 2 people signed up, so we consolidated. And I just figured I'd follow her lead, make myself look good.
Yeah. And online training finally. Thank you.
Of course.
Yeah,
There you go. Service with a smile.
good stuff.
All right, well, thank you for that. So at the very bottom of the page, if you keep scrolling down, we're gonna click next again. Okay, and then we're gonna get into what you can really work on before your grades are done. And that's kind of organizing your course. Basically, the goal here is to get your courses ready so that they can be copied over next year. So you're gonna keep all of these courses, and then at some point in August, you'll get your new courses and they'll be ready to go. And once they are ready to go, then you can import all of your content into next year and just reuse the assignments that you spent all of that time creating this year. That's the goal. One exception though, let's say you're teaching a brand new course next year that you didn't teach this year. If you are teaching a brand new course, I have in here the steps that you can take to ask for a sandbox course as kind of a placeholder course so that you can, if you want to, build out content over the summer before you get your real course and then copy from there. But that's only necessary if you're teaching something you're not currently teaching. If you're teaching it now, use this course, right? Even though your students can see the content, you can build something, you don't have to publish it, but you can kind of build stuff in there if you want to create new things that won't impact their grades. And that's really fun. Okay, last year we made sandbox courses for everybody, but I don't think that's necessary. I think that was just more work for you, and we're gonna try to avoid it.
Watching for 15 minutes on video, okay? Throwing stuff like that.
Okay, so one great way to organize your work in your Canvas course is to create modules. And essentially what modules are it's an organizational, sort of like creating folders that you can then put work into, so then students can just go to one place to access your materials, and you can then find it all in one place. So this course itself, the way that we started out is we went into modules. And I'm gonna go out of this for a second just to get there. Actually, I'm just gonna, I like new tabs.
You
Okay.
see it as a unit, you know, if you're creating a unit, sequential.
So in this PE course, as I mentioned before, we have tons of modules, and that's where we started. And you can move your modules around. So this one module, this is the unit for today. But, you know, I was a math teacher before this, I would make one unit as chapter 1. I would make one unit, I always had that beginning of the year kind of organizational stuff. I would make that one unit. So then everything for that unit can go in one place. In this course, it's a lot of information, so you're not actually turning in an assignment. So these are all pages. You can see they all look the same. But in other modules, you might have, anybody in CM? You've seen in those modules where there's a page and a discussion, right? And so what they did there is they put, you know, the informational pages, they put the discussion topics in there. So then you don't have to go, wait, I'm going to pages now, and then I'm going to discussions. As a student in that class, you just go to one spot and you can find everything in the same spot. So that's what you can make for your students. You can put in Canvas quizzes, assignments, pages, discussions, announcements, everything into your modules, even external tools. And in navigating, it's nice to be able to collapse them and expand them, especially if you have a course like this where there are a gazillion modules. Okay, so in here for organizing your modules, this presentation is embedded and you can kind of click through to see what you need to do in here, okay? So hopefully you still have some of those tabs open. If not, open a new tab and keep this one for your reference, but In a different tab, go into a course that you are a teacher. And in that course, click on modules. If it's grayed out, that's okay. That just means you haven't created one yet. If you have, that's great too. You can click on modules and then plus module to add a new module. And I'll actually do this at the same time. I'll find a different class. Maybe.
We're also offering a module session during the June PD Institute.
So we can dive deeper there. So I'm going to go into this class that I play around with. I clicked on modules. I have a ton in here, but at the top, I can add a new module by clicking plus module. We're going to name it, okay? And so you're naming based on how you teach and how you want to organize your class. If you have different units you want to set up, right? Whatever you're going to name your units. Unit 1, you could even be more specific. Whatever this name is, this shows for your students. So you want to make sure it's something that's easy for them to recognize. Okay. For right now, all I'm going to do is add the name and then click add module. So I'm saying unit 1, solving equations and inequalities. Okay, and here it moved it, all new modules go to the very bottom. So mine is now here, it's empty, it's sitting at the very bottom. If you want to rearrange your modules, you can try clicking on the 3 dots. So I'm going to click on the 3 dots. I want to move it to the top, so I'm going to click move module at the top. So then you can see it. Okay, some other options that you have. Let's say you made a module and then you went, wait a second, I already made that module. Or I want to combine 2 units. You can just move the contents of your module from one module to another. So then you can combine and merge them. Or let's say you kind of make an outline where each unit you want to have a home page and, you know, kind of a sample of an agenda of kind of, not really agenda, but what they're going to see throughout. Let's say you make that shell, you want to duplicate that and reuse the same structure. You can duplicate an entire module. Okay, you can also delete and then edit we'll get back to later. For now, I want to add to my module. So I'm going to click the plus sign within the module. So then you'll see in here, it defaults to assignments at first, but you can add any of these Canvas tools. Okay, we'll start with assignments. You'll see all of the assignments you created in that class included in this list. So you made all this stuff already. Now you want to organize it, right? So if I have, for my unit 1, I have assignments 1 through 3. I'm going to select all of those, right? So you don't have to do one by one. You can take all of the assignments that you have for that unit and add them into that module. I like to personally, I like to use the indentations. I feel like it helps visually to kind of organize your module. So I'm going to indent my assignments 1 level. It just means that it's pushing all of those assignments over one. Yeah.
If you copy a module, will it copy text headers?
If you duplicate the module, yes.
And otherwise you
But
can't.
otherwise, exactly. Yeah, so what Catherine's asking is, that's another thing I like to add to my modules is, it's only for organizational purposes, but you can add in, I just said plus, and then instead of assignment, I'm gonna go down to text header. I like to add things in like homework as a text header. That one, I don't want to indent. So now I just added this. It doesn't really do anything. Nobody can click on it, but it keeps that module so that it can kind of break things into little parts inside the module. But you can't duplicate them. I don't know why. Individually. So if you want to always have, and this is where that shell of a module comes in, you create one module and you know, in every unit, I'm gonna have homework, I'm gonna have quizzes, I'm gonna have this, I'm gonna have that, and you wanna organize it that way, that's where I would duplicate the whole module, because it brings those text headers over. So you may not wanna fill a bunch in, make that, duplicate that, and then you can fill it. Okay, so I'm gonna add another text header while I'm at it. Class notes. And then another one of, I don't know, self-assessments. So now I have that structure. Now I'm going to say plus, and here's where I can pull, you know, for my notes, maybe pull some pages. Okay, even though it says chapter 2, I'm adding those 2 pages in. And then you can drag, if you saw, you can drag anything from these, what is it, 8 dots on the side, anywhere else within that module, or to another module if you want to. Okay, or you can move contents from the side by saying move to. I feel like that's more clicking and more time, but that's up to you, however you want to do it.
Question.
In order for all your work, from say, if I have a lot of things this year that I really enjoy and I would like to do next year, do we have to put in the module in order to transfer it over to?
No, it just, it
Makes
makes
life
it
easier.
easier
Okay.
to find it in the future and for your students to find it.
If you're suffering from the CD situation, we do.
You have to. I heard recently that there's some study that came out that said the cleaner you are, the happier you are. And I was like, duh. So that's sort of where my mind is, but anyway. So you can play around with just adding anything that you have already. I can add some of my quizzes in here. My factoring, that sure goes in. And like I said, I like to indent everything except for my text headers, but that's totally up to you and how you want to organize it. But go ahead and take a little bit of time in one of the courses that you teach and see, just pick one unit. If you haven't already created modules, pick one unit and try organizing everything you have from that unit into that module. This way it makes a one-stop shop. It's still located where it was originally. You're not taking it out of assignments so that students can't find it in assignments and now it's in modules. It's in both places, sort of like copying it in. But it makes it so that they can find it in here as well. Okay, yeah.
If you say how you do this live presentation every day.
Yeah.
Maybe it's okay.
Then that's not in my mind. Where, I know I spoke to
Yeah.
files or pictures.
Well, so it's a great question.
Well, I still use smart.
So real quick, a couple of things while I'm kind of helping people. I'm just gonna interrupt you really quickly. Right now, what I should have had you working on instead of a current course is one of your first semester courses, right? Because in the fall, that's what you're gonna be working on right away. So, you know, and especially if you're worried that students might get confused if you start manipulating stuff, you can totally work on your first semester courses by going to courses, all courses, and scrolling down to past enrollments. You'll see exactly what you taught in the fall. You can add modules, rearrange, do whatever you want there, because that's what you're gonna be teaching in, you know, mid-August, right? So that's gonna be top of mind, and then your current stuff, you'll be teaching starting in January if you're teaching the same thing. So the other thing that I wanted to quickly touch base on, thank you for letting me interrupt you, is this is just kind of getting to the very basics of your module. This is the bare bones minimum, but there are a few other things. If I have this set up right now the way I currently do, and I didn't change anything, my students would come in and they would not be able to see assignments 1, 2, or 3. Anybody have any idea why?
publish it.
The module itself is not published. The assignments are published. That's what's confusing is you'll go into your assignments, and they'll be published, and you'll be like, why can't they see them? This is driving me crazy. And it's because they are in an unpublished module. So the students will try to access those assignments, and they'll get a notice that says, this content is in a module that is unavailable. So you have to publish the whole module for the students to see anything in it. But you can do a couple of different things. So I'm going to click on publish. So now the whole module is published. But let's say, okay, I want them to be able to access their first assignment, but nothing else. I'm going to unpublish those very easily. Or let's say, you're getting so organized over the summer that you're taking all of the material that you created this year and you're putting it all into modules over the summer. And you're teaching everything the same, but you don't want your students to move ahead because they might get confused or something like that. You just want them to see that first unit when they come in. You don't want them to get overwhelmed by seeing units 2, 3, 4, 5 through 67, right? So what you can do is you can go into the 3 dots next to your module heading and click edit. So this is where you can lock your modules until a certain date. So I know I'm not going to teach this unit until, well, let's say it's the first one, until August 14th. I don't want them in the summer thinking about their class for me, so I'm going to lock it until then, right? Or if it's a unit for later, I'm going to lock it until November 4th. And then you click update module. The other thing that you can do, and I'll take a module from later on, is if you click edit, but not with the very first one, is you can add a prerequisite to your module. So let's say you want your students to be able to sort of self-pace, but you don't want them to access some material until they have mastered the previous material. So you can then add a prerequisite that they have to have completed a previous module to get to this one. So I've done that sometimes with these where I have made the attendance in a separate module from the actual content. And so you can't get to the attendance until you have finished the first module. A sneaky way of doing it. So I've added a prerequisite there. Okay, so that's what a prerequisite is. It's exactly what it sounds like. They have to have finished one module before they can access that one. Then requirements are a little bit different. Requirements are within the module. So I'm going to go back to that module I was working on today. I'm going to click edit. And so then you can add in as many requirements as you want based on the content that's in that particular module. So you can require that your students go through the module in order. Or I'm going to add, by clicking this plus requirement, I'm just going to click it a couple of times so I have stuff in here. Okay, they have to at least view assignment number 1. Assignment number 2, I want them to submit it. So you can force them to be able to move through the module, they have to have submitted that. So you can really drill down a lot here. Let's see, we can do where if you have a quiz or something or an assignment, you can say they have to score at least blank to then mark that as done. Okay, so there's a lot of fine details that you can really get into the nitty-gritty on these that you wouldn't have wanted to even approach before you'd made all the content. Now that you've made all the content for the year, now you can go back and sort of fine tune it if you want. I'm going to say at least 8 on that assignment. I usually make my assignments out of 10. So for a page, you want them to view it. They could mark it as done. It's in a little, it'll just add a little box to it. Okay, so you can require all of these things. You can require the order, and you can lock it until a certain date. So those are the kind of extras that you can add to your modules. Question?
What happens on their end if they don't reach their 8 score?
I think if they try to move on, like if you have it in sequential order, they can't go to the next thing until they go back and they reach that score. So they would have to resubmit it, and then you would have to rescore it, yeah. Yeah, so it's based on the requirements that you set in there. But if they have to complete this module, go to the next one, they won't be able to go to the next one until they go back. Okay, any other questions on modules? And like Bob said, there will be, if you come to the June PD week, there will be a whole session on modules. But that's a great time to, you can get some of your organization done with help. So let's go back to the PD tab, right, where we were here, where it talked about modules. There's information on the module in here, but I think hands-on for me at least is best. And we're going to scroll down to the bottom of the page and click next. Okay, so a little bit more cleanup. So that was all in modules where you can add your current content. But I have, a lot of people have asked for help, and so I've looked in your assignments. In a lot of cases, people said, what, can you help me here? And there are a lot of, there's a spectrum of organizational levels within assignments. And so this is a good time to maybe take your first semester courses and organize those assignments. See if there are any assignments you don't want to reuse. Just get rid of them so you're not bringing them with you, right? Make sure the due dates make sense. Some people have no due dates, right? It might be a good idea to put those due dates in because then it puts it into the students' calendars, okay, automatically. If you have due dates, here's a super fun trick that I love. If I can get this to go away, there we go. If you click on your calendar, and this would be in a course that you teach so you don't get lost, right, in one of the other tabs. I'm gonna click on my calendar, if it will work. And I think most of these are old. Okay, here we go. Here are my assignments. They're all, these are crossed out because this is from April, so that date has passed. But I want to, for next year, I want to rearrange those due dates. I want them due on a different day. I can drag and drop, and it changes the due date in the assignment itself, which saves you a ton of clicks.
Yes. Where are you? Lena? That's amazing.
Calendar.
But. Does it leaves the time the same, just changes the date?
It just changes the date.
If I have multiple.
As far as I know, I haven't tested, because I don't change the times on them.
That is
A lot of times I'll
hard
have like second periods do it this time, sixth periods do it this time.
I hope it changes. You can, I would test it out on one, see if it maintains the time, it just moves the date, but I believe it just moves the date. Okay, so I would definitely try that, because when you import your assignments next year, there's an option to kind of update the due dates, and it's not 100% accurate, but it ballparks them. And so you want to make sure your due dates are pretty accurate, and that'll really help you out. Okay, and the other thing that I would work on is make sure that your categories are accurate, right? So some people have made categories, but then some assignments they have in some general kind of bucket of assignments. And so this would be a good time to make sure everything is set up. If you have a current course, right, your courses that you're teaching right now that students are really stressed over their grades in, if you have grades or grading categories that are weighted, I wouldn't start rearranging those right now because that will mess up their grades. But for last semester, you can definitely rearrange into categories, and that should be fine, okay? The other thing that I would work on cleaning up are your pages. And you probably have a bunch of pages and you don't even know you have these pages, and you can get rid of them. Because when you copy your stuff next year, you're just gonna add more pages and it gets confusing. So go ahead in a course that you teach, that thing keeps popping down. There you go. I'm gonna go back. Yeah, you have to actually go back in because calendar has all of your courses. So that's one of the global settings. So I'm going back into a course that I teach, and I'm going to click on pages. It's probably gray, and it's going to be in a different spot for everybody over here. You can click on it, and then you have to do a second click of view all pages. But then, let's see, you don't have as many pages as me, I hope. But you'll have these pages in there, and some of them you're going to go, I I never even made that page, and that's fine, because they have been imported, and so you can get rid of them. The pages that you should not get rid of are the one that has the little front page next to it, like this one, because that's your home page that's showing to your students. Don't get rid of that one. The other one to not get rid of is if you have anything in your About Your Teacher page. You don't want to get rid of that one either because it's linked from your homepage. So to tell, if you have a couple of different About Your Teacher pages, click on one. And you can open it up and see, hey, I haven't updated this one. I can definitely get rid of that one. So I'm going to go back to View All Pages. I'm going to go in here. I'm going to click the 3 dots, and I'm going to delete it because I know I'm not using it. And so then I know that's not going to carry over next year and confuse me. Right? So this is just a good chance to kind of clean those up. Okay, so take a second, at least in one course, to go through and streamline your pages so that those don't get messy next year. Of course. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so I am going to keep this rolling. So information on updating your pages and stuff is on this same page. I'm gonna scroll down to the bottom. And I think, oh yeah, so I mentioned earlier, who here knows if they're teaching a brand new course that they haven't taught yet next year? Maybe, okay, so if that pertains to you, after you click next, there's a link in here to request a Sandbox course. There's also a link from my webpage, or just email me. I forgot how. But either way, if you're teaching a brand new course, you can request a Sandbox course where you can create the content in there because you don't have that course currently to play around with. Okay? So that's what this is for. You hopefully won't need it if you're teaching the same thing next year.